of you were right on your basic needs of the animal. You guys are pretty sharp. Good job. I have a question for you. Thank you, Kurt. So, basic needs of an animal are water, food, shelter, and Karen? Air. I want you to think about the animal that you might want to do research on. And I want you to think about what type of shelter they need. And I want you to think about what type of food they might need to meet their basic needs. Consider their ecosystem. Where do they live? How is that going to affect their shelter and their food, their air, and their water needs? Once you have a good idea, talk to your neighbor. Here's Paige. Would you please come be part of the How about a wolf? Where does a wolf go for shelter? Wood. What does a wolf eat?
Meat.
Where does he go to find meat?
To the wood, like everywhere.
Where does he go to get his walk?
To lakes and
Ladies. Okay. Where does the horse get shelter? All right. What do you think? If I was to ask you about, let's see, about a bobcat, what kind of shelter do you think a bobcat needs? Ray?
A forest.
Okay, a forest. A mountain. Crew?
A hole.
A hole. Luis? A sewer. If it was living in a city or a town, possibly. What type of food does a bobcat need? What type of animal is a bobcat? First of all, that might be the first thing I think about. Think about its mouth. What did we learn about animals' mouths? What do you think? What type of animal would a bobcat be? Paige?
The bobcat would be a carnivore.
Okay. So what type of food do you think that a bobcat would probably need? Martine?
A cat.
It might eat a cat, yeah. Trey?
Meat.
Meat. All right. One more, right?
A deer.
A deer. All right. My next question for you. How does the needs of an animal affect its behavior? Let me rephrase that. If the basic needs of an animal are water, food, shelter, and air, what does an animal have to do in order to make sure that those needs are met? How does it affect the way it behaves? Talk to your neighbor.
I think it affects the way it behaves, probably if it doesn't have enough
What if the animal
then it
doesn't
can be like a clock, it can be like acting
What
up
would it
and
do?
everything, or it
All right, what would it do?
You think it's different for the bobcat and cat?
What would an animal do if it didn't have water? If its basic need of water was not being met, what would an animal do? Carter.
It would run around and try to find
would go look for water. How about food? What if an animal's basic need of food is not being met? Rainy?
The bobcat would go get food or go find food.
Okay. Here's an interesting thought. When you, actually it's an observation statement, when you go to take the MSP test, this is going to be a question that will very likely come up on the MSP test. If a animal is missing
Like if you want to attract an animal to your yard.
Oh, perfect. Okay, thank you. I knew you had an excellent way. He explained it last period. Excellent. If I wanted to attract an animal to my yard, like a hummingbird, for example, what are the basic needs of a hummingbird? And how would I attract the hummingbird to come to my yard instead of Chloe's yard? If I wanted the hummingbirds in my yard, how would I meet their basic needs to make sure that they came into my yard and not Chloe's yard? Talk to your neighbor. What do you think?
You would set up
Awesome point. When I call out and I call you and I want you to say that because that's a really good connection.
All right. Alrighty. I want to make sure that the hummingbirds come into my yard and not into Chloe's yard. What needs what am I going to do to meet the needs of a hummingbird so it will come into my yard? Micah.
You need to have water and food and oxygen. It'll be more comfortable and secure there.
Okay. So I should try and meet its water needs, its food needs, and its air needs. All right. Paige, what do you think?
If you wanted a hummingbird to come in your yard for a basic need of food, then you should have something vibrant attracting it towards the food. A vibrant color.
Why?
Because hummingbirds like vibrant colors of flowers.
Interesting. Does anybody have a connection to what we learned about in our lesson on plants with what Paige just said? Think about it. Paige talked about the vibrant colors attracting a hummingbird into her yard. What connections can you make to that with our unit that we just got done doing? Talk to your partner.
Like they have it's like it's yellow, then like a rainbow. You guys get a pot, a big like fountain for your water, and then put rainbow fish in it.
Interesting. Why would I want to put a bright colored bird feeder in my yard to attract hummingbirds? What is the connection to our plant unit? True.
I just lost it.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Shrey.
I can make a connection to the plant system because the petals of the flowers have pretty colors to attract the bugs to pollen.
Cool. Ray.
You could put in a fountain for the water, and then you could have like colorful fish inside it.
And that would attract the hummingbirds?
Yes, and it would also have its water needs.
And it would meet its water needs. Okay. All right, Chloe?
You can also put the bird feeder in a garden, so it will
bird.
Awesome. Martine?
My partner said that you need sugar waters. Yeah.
How many of you think that is a true statement? Yes. One of the ways that you can attract hummingbirds into your yard is to give sugar water in that bird feeder, because the sugar meets the food needs of the hummingbird. All right. Paige said she put brightly colored water in the bird feeder. The bright colors do attract hummingbirds. However, I learned something last period, that the food coloring in that bright colored water, when you put it in there, makes the birds sick. So, what about the hummingbird feeder? If you didn't make the food color, put the food coloring in there, would the hummingbirds still come to your hummingbird feeder? Mm-hmm. If so, why? What about the hummingbird feeder? How is it set up to encourage hummingbirds to come to it, even without colored water? Talk to your neighbor. What about the hummingbird?
They think it's like sweet water. And then there's flowers, like on the side. They suck up the water.
What about the
Color it red. Yeah, you can color it red, but not the water part, just like the outside. You can color the fish. You have to have bunny or chocolate.
Right on the nose.
The sugar water, so it's still brightly colored.
I didn't want to clap really hard because I have a container of food coloring in my hand. If I was to clap really hard right now, you know what would happen? It would shoot. This top would pop off. It would hit Karen in the back of the head, and she would be red for the rest of the day. And she'd go home and take a shower, and she'd be red all day. So I didn't clap. I'm glad I got your attention. All right. Why do you think that how is a hummingbird feeder set up to attract hummingbirds to it, even if we don't put the pretty colored water in it? Carter.
That the hummingbird feeder would be bright colors. So then hummingbirds think it'd be awesome, and then they go.
So the base of it is bright colored to attract the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Little plastic flower thingies the hummingbirds drink out.
And it has little plastic flowers that the hummingbirds drink out of. Crew.
Also, because if it's like sunny and your bird feeder is like red, the sun would go through the bird feeder and look like the water's red to it.
Interesting reflection. Nice thought. Paige?
Even if you don't have food coloring in it, you could put like cranberry juice in it, and it'll still make it sweet, and it won't have food coloring in it either.
Interesting thought. I've never heard of that before. Very cool. All right, guys. Nice conversation.